guys, another quick one from the team here at BlenderTech.com. So this is another call from help for the user Leland. She was asking, I believe, it wasn't totally clear, but why background images weren't showing up in the 3D viewport. So I'm going to show you how to make that happen. So in Blender, she was, I believe, attempting to have a background image as a background. So basically, when she went to render an image, it would have a background there instead of just the gray screen. So how we do that in Blender is we add an environment image as the world background. So to do that, all you do is you go to the world tab, this little earth ball looking thing, and I guess we'd be in Cycles render engine. And so what you do is you can turn on preview for a preview of it. You click on use nodes. You can see right here currently it uses just a color, and you could change that color to anything. If you just wanted, say, green, you could change it to green, and it would be green if we went to rendered mode. But again, you don't see it in the 3D viewport no matter what. But anyways, if you hit use nodes, you'll see we have a background as our surface, and where it has color, just click this little dot beside it and it gives you a choice of things you can change it to. In this case, we want to change it to an environment texture. You could use an image texture too, but an image texture is just a good habit to get into. It basically does the same thing more or less. So click environment texture, and then open up the background that you want. I'm just gonna open up the image that she sent me again, as long as this is no problem. So it was this picture of the pyramids in Egypt or whatever, but again, we don't see it in the background. Now in Blender 2.73, there's the great feature that yes, you can display it in the 3D viewport, which is nice, but this isn't available in Blender 2.72 or in versions before 2.73. So the only real way to fix this is to go into rendered mode, and then you're able to see your cube with the background. However, then you're not able to see the grid flow or anything. So basically, it's kind of a game of going, to solid mode, and then, editing your model to whatever shape you want. And then going back into rendered mode and seeing how it looks and such. You can press numpad 0. Let me turn on screencast keys. You can press numpad 0 or go view camera to get your camera view as usual, as we've talked about, and then you can go to rendered view, and that'll show you exactly how your render would turn out, which is within these borders. And if you go to the render data tab, you can also check off border, and then it'll only render what the camera will see, and that will speed it up. And if going to rendered view is very, very slow when you start to get a more complicated scene, you can go down, same tab, the render data tab, you can go down to sampling, and you can turn the preview samples down to, say, like 2, and it'll be very, very fuzzy. Let me go back just to show you. So if we click on rendered, you'll see it's very, very fuzzy, but it gives you a preview regardless, and you can see it rendered in half a second, versus if I was to render out at my usual 10 frames to preview, it would take, I believe, about just over a second. Let's see. Yeah, just about 2 seconds. So yeah, that's just an example. So yeah, in terms of background images, you have to be in rendered mode to be able to see them with your models on top of them. The only way, there are ways around this sort of, but for a beginner Blender user, I'm not going to get into that at all, because it involves some kind of hackish stuff, and yeah, not the easiest things to do. But if you download the Blender 2.73 release candidate, which is available on blender.org, you can just open up your N panel by pressing N. So I'll go into solid mode by pressing N, and that opens up this menu. And then under display, you can choose world background, and then you see your world background with your grid floor and your object and everything still. So you can do it that way. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, if you're going to stick with the with Blender 2.72, is you can enable the add-on insert image as plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to go File, User Preferences, Add-ons, and this is a stock add-on. This is available in this has been available for a long time, and it's usually most people have it enabled. So we're gonna go import. We're just gonna search up import, and we're gonna check off import export image or import images as planes. We're gonna check that off. So if you click the little button here, it says imports images and creates planes with the appropriate aspect ratio. The images are mapped to the planes. So we'll save our settings. And so now what we have is, if we go to add a new mesh, we can now add images as planes. So I'm going to delete this weird shape I created by pressing X and then delete, and we're going to use that. So we're going to go add mesh images as planes, and it's gonna bring up a menu to ask you what image you want to use. So I'm going to go to desktop. I'm going to choose that image again. You really don't have to worry about the extra options for now, and just hit import images as planes, and you'll see now that it's created this plane. Now we don't see anything in solid mode, but if we go to texture mode, you see it perfectly. So we can grab it and move it somewhere, and then we can rotate it along the X 90 degrees so that we see it straight on, and then we could move it to the back of our scene here, and then we could say we could scale it up. We could press the S key and we could scale it way up. And we could grab it along the Z a little more to get it on our grid floor. Let's see, I'll go to front view and turn off perspective. So yeah, it'd have to be down just a little bit so it's sitting right on the red line. That's the grid floor there. So yeah, then you would essentially have a background image that you could go. So now I could move my cursor to center. I could add in a mesh cylinder. I could add in a mesh torus. So there I could join these. So there I have whatever, this little shape that I can whoops, not like that, that I can move and scale and rotate and edit. I can do whatever I want to my models, and I have that background image there. And if I take my camera and if I adjust it, I'm just going to use the quick way, but you know how to grab the camera around to adjust it. You can render this out and you will see your background. So now, not only do we see it in the 3D viewport, we also see it in camera view, and we also see it in rendered view. And when we go to actually render our image by pressing F12 or going render image, then we get our background as well. Again, it's very noisy because I only have it set to 10 samples, but you get the basic idea. So hopefully that answers your questions on background images in Blender. So yeah, you can use the import images as planes add-on to get a background image, as long as you're in textured or material mode, and it'll automatically put that on there for you. Or you can add an environment texture or an image texture in the world tab, and that will be available in rendered mode. And if you are using version 2.73, the one that's about to be released, you can check off world background and it shows up as well in all modes. So yeah, hopefully that answers your questions, and I just wanted to bring this one out there quickly again. So thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time.